Well, hi folks. Trust everybody's fine. Here we are, January 26th. It's sort of a mixed bag. We've had hail last night, snow the day before, and just a bit of wind and chill right now, on the island that is. Today is an interesting day because this is the day, and apparently close to, as far as science can determine and research can determine using Japanese records and the speed of tidal waves, tsunamis, that sort of thing. About 9 p.m. January 26, 1700 was the last mega quake in the Pacific Northwest. So that's what this video is about. You know, the quakes, I have several links in the description end. And they're not all videos. There's a couple of videos. And again, this isn't meant just to sort of scare people. It's just sort of giving you some facts. A lot of the information is written papers by different geologists and that, scientific studies and assumptions and theories of what happened and how it's happening. And there's a couple of videos, and just to give you more of a visual too, to see how things are shaping up. But it's again not meant to alarm people. It's just meant to inform people, to have people ready for something. And some things you can never be ready for. You know, when your clock is up, it's up, sort of thing. So it's not meant to have people sitting on pins and needles worrying about things, but be prepared. Expect the best, but be prepared for the worst. That's the old mantra, right? And a lot of people might chuckle at that and say, well, how can you be prepared? Just think back to January, February last year, 2020. And I can remember as people would come into a coffee shop, I would ask them, do you have your rice and beans and your essentials ready? And they would look at me as if I was an idiot. Most people thought I had just gone senile. I had joined the Joe Biden club. But it's not the Joe Biden. Yeah, the Joe Biden club. But it's was just one of those things. And about a few weeks later, people were panicking as they went in to pick up toilet paper and rice, and there was nothing on the shelves. The shelves were empty. And so that's what I mean by being prepared. Make sure you have essentials, food and water and all the things, your medications and things, on hand to look after yourself in case of an emergency. And back in January, February, March, you could go into a shopping center and just see empty shelves. But with this megaquake, should it happen, there won't be a store to walk into to see the empty shelves. There may not be. I mean, this is serious, serious things. And it doesn't, the idea that you have enough supplies to look after yourself and your family for 2 or 3 days, in this scenario won't work. You need to have more planning than that. Because as you go through the links, if you have a mind to, I know a lot of people say, oh, well, I can't be bothered with that. If it happens, it happens, whatever. But it's really, really worth looking through if you value your children, your family, your parents, your grandparents, your friends. It's a good discussion to have for a neighborhood to be prepared to look after one another. Because the cavalry won't be coming in that evening, sort of thing. And as you go through the information that I've put in the description, you'll see why. And it's life is sort of a funny thing. Sometimes it's we're walking on that thin line, and we don't realize it. All I have to do is look at the political activities in the Western world, in the world right now, and they just didn't happen overnight. This has been going on since I can remember, when I was in grade 6. I remember that's the first discussions a wise teacher that we had brought forth the debate and the discussion of political changes in the world that were coming down the pipe slowly, but if we weren't careful, they'd be overtaking us, and our whole way of life would change. Our idea of religion would be sort of washed out. Our faith would be destroyed. Families would be destroyed. The idea of a family would be destroyed. Everything that we thought we understood would be shaken up. And as you look at the world today, that's happened. Just simply happened. Oh, we march for climate change, and we march for goofy stuff, banning plastic straws, and we're naive enough to think that what we do is affecting what the planet is doing. We don't stand back and we don't start really think about it. That as the poles are shifting, volcanoes and earthquakes happening, we have no if any. We don't affect that very much. We're the flea on the flea on the flea on the dog. And yet we're so vain and so naive to think that we control everything, that we cause everything, and we'll march to sort of dehumanize the people who aren't marching with us and say, hey, you're the problem. The problem's up here, we don't think. We don't think. And the problem's in here, we don't have a heart. We don't think with our heart sometimes. We think goofy. We think with what we see on television, the bullshit and the crap that people spew out to us, and that's where we spend our days watching, and that's where we get our ideas from. We're slowly brainwashed and we don't realize it. But anyway, getting back to this mega quake, it's like I said, the last one happened in on January 26th. They figure about 9 p.m. And off the Richter, there's a link called Off the Richter. That one's interesting because it goes through the timelines of how these geologists and foresters and engineers and that figured this whole scenario out. It's intriguing. It's that detective work is an amazing read. And of course, I think a couple of days ago I put a link into Full Rip 9, The Earthquake. There's another book that has used that title that's not about earthquakes, but if you go look back into my last video, you'll see that one. But the detective work to sort of find out and lay before us where we're sitting right now. And of course, I'm interested. When I first moved to the island, that's a lot of years ago, I was an underground driller at the time. And my first time underground, that's the first thing I thought, what the hell am I doing here? This is earthquake country. Why am I several hundred feet underground? It's sort of stupid. And, it just sort of flashed through my mind and didn't think of that again until I came back out on surface that day. And I think it was one of the few last times I was underground. But it's, so I live on the island, and we're always conscious of that. When my children were small, we would say, hey, as soon as the shaking starts, stop, as soon as you can stand up, watch for falling debris and wires, but head for high ground if you can, and don't take a lot of time doing that. And so it's been on our minds for dozens of years, and we don't lose sleep over it, but we are prepared. You have make sure you have enough supplies and that around to get you through until there could be, we have great military, and you would have supplies being dropped by helicopter, I am sure, but it would take a while, especially if you're in a real small outlying community. I mean, when you think of the populations in the Pacific Northwest, it's Vancouver, Seattle, Portland. I mean, those major cities are where all the action is going to be going. It's going to be devastating. And just be prepared. I remember one time a conversation, and this lady where I was chatting to a retired RCMP member, and often had in-depth discussions, and we're talking about what you could do to have water on hand and have food on hand, have a lot of batteries and whatever, because there's power, no sewer, whatever. Maybe have a couple bags of lye on hand, so you could do an outdoor biffy and keep, you don't want bacteria and everything going quite crazy on you. And I remember a lady was there, a little old lady, and she said, look, I'm not worried about that. I know where everybody's kitchens are, so I'm not going to stockpile food. And she didn't know who this other gentleman was, but he looked at her in a very calm voice, said, and I have a shotgun and I know how to use it. And it was interesting because she froze in midair, sort of thing, and realizing the importance of all this. You don't have shotguns most people don't have shotguns, but just that idea. Be prepared, not only for yourself so that you can help others too, because there are going to be clowns who have nothing and think they'll come roaming around and salvage stuff. So be prepared. Be prepared. Anyway, that's about it for today. I think most people don't want to plan for disasters, but I think it's apropos. And if there's an emergency service organization in your area, maybe volunteer for that and get some first-hand training. And that emergency services have become really invaluable in a lot of areas. A lot of ex-military officers and that have got involved, and so the training is sort of very, very good. And it'll just get you mentally prepared. And I think one of the I think it was Wagstaff in her article, it's in the description, said with her family everybody has a flashlight in their room and a pair of shoes under their bed, because you're going to be, if there is a disaster, and they know what they're going to do and where they're going. And I think that's important, because in the middle of a night, if this happens, there's glass and debris, everything, really, it'll be horrible, too horrible to imagine. So make sure one has an escape route and have things planned for you and your family. And if your neighbors think you're an idiot, well, don't worry about it. Be prepared. Look after yourself. Take care. Bye for now. See you again.